Hey class, Miss Thomas here. I'm going to wear these handy dandy headphones today since they seem to do a really good job so you can hear my voice as I read books. Sometimes they cut out just a little bit as I'm reading a story, and I want you to be able to hear the words in the story even if I'm turning and looking and showing you the pictures. Okay, so we're going to try this out today and see if it works better for the videos. Anyways, we have been reading lovely fiction stories this unit. And fiction, again, is what? Fiction is make believe. So the author has created these wonderful stories in their minds, and then they write them, sometimes illustrate them as well. But they create these stories to entertain us and sometimes teach us some stuff too. But normally it's to entertain and to make us smile. So we read Bear Dream earlier in the week, and that story was really cool because some parts could have been real. So we know that the author wrote a fiction story, so they created it, but some of the parts were kind of realistic, weren't they? Like, we really wonder if maybe something like that has actually happened in the past. So, we're going to read another fiction tale today, and it's called Ducky. You're going to really enjoy this. This is kind of based on a true story in a sense. The author saw something happen out in the world. It really happened, and it gave them inspiration. What's inspiration? Inspiration means that someone got inspired. They got given a beautiful idea that made their brains go, I have an idea. I want to write and create and tell more about that. So then the author her name is Eve Bunting, and she created this story because of something that she saw in the world. Okay, get excited. It's a good story. Before we begin though, I want to go over a couple of our vocabulary words that just in case as they come upon in the reading, we know what they mean. So the first vocabulary word is terrified. Terrified, that's a really good vocabulary word. It just means you're really, really scared. If someone's terrified of something, you are not just a little scared, you're super scared. The next word is non toxic. Non toxic, this just means it's not poisonous, it's not going to hurt you. It's non toxic. Constellations. Have you ever looked up at the stars at night? Looked up in the sky? Constellations are groupings of stars that create shapes. So there's constellations and they make like little pictures or things in the sky. Constellations of the stars. And next one is fulfilling my destiny. So that's a phrase. If someone is fulfilling their destiny, that just means that they're doing exactly what they're meant to be doing with their life. So that's another term that will come up in our reading. As we read, I want you to be thinking, who's telling this story? I'm going to ask you that at the end. So kind of put that question up in your brain today, almost like an essential question. Who is telling this story? I want you to be thinking about that as we read Ducky. Okay, so again, this story is called Ducky. It is by Eve Bunting, and the illustrations are by David. That's a very tricky name. I don't even know. Wesnowski. That's fun. Alrighty, let's get started. This book actually won some awards too because it was so beautifully written, and the illustrations are so cool. Okay, so I'll do my best to show you the illustrations as we go along. Ducky. All right, title page. Let's see, look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? All right, it says, I am a yellow plastic duck, and I am in great danger. Yesterday, I was snuggled safe with hundreds of other bathtub toys. We were in a crate on a big ship. A storm came. Our crate was washed overboard. Oh no. Down, down, down it went. We tumbled around inside. Yellow ducks, green frogs, blue turtles, and red beavers. Bump! Crash! We hit bottom. The crate broke, and we bobbed like colored bubbles to the surface. Oh my goodness, all these bath toys out there in the ocean. The sun is rising now and the sea is pink. My bathtub friends float all around me. Our ship has disappeared. The sea is big, big, big. Oh, I am scared. You see all those bath toys floating out there in the waves? Fish with watery eyes come to stare. A sea snake wiggles itself among us. A great monster head rises close to me. Shark! I go from scared to terrified. So really, really scared now. How would you feel if a water snake went slithering past you when you're swimming in the water? The shark's mouth opens and it gulps up a frog. 2 beavers, 3 turtles, and me. Oh no! You see him? Ah! Things and bits of things are stuck in its giant teeth. It shakes its head and it spits us out. I expect that we are not too tasty, though we are guaranteed non-toxic. That's the thing. The plastic is not poisonous, but probably doesn't taste very good, does it? I wish we could swim and get away, but all we can do is float. It's a relief when the shark goes. Phew, I'd be terrified too. A wedge of pelicans flies above us. Oh, I wish I could fly. I'd fly to safety. The frog next to me is turned upside down. Oh, he was turned upside down by a wave, and then right side up by another wave. But we are drifting far apart from one another. Great sea separates us. High on a sea swell, so that just means up on a wave, I see us spread across the ocean for miles and miles and miles. The next morning, I have no yellow ducks, green frogs, blue turtles, or red beavers to keep me company. Like the ship, they have all left, and I'm alone. You see them right here? All alone in the big sea. Wow. I can tell how long I float on the big... Oh, I cannot. I can't tell how long I float on the big, empty ocean. There are days when sun sparks the water, when the ocean is blue with white ruffles. There are days when I float through rain. Days when the wind blows me backwards, tumbling me like a yellow ball. It is all the same to me. I only know the loneliness. What does that word mean? Loneliness. That means when you're all alone and you feel a little bit sad and a little bit just all alone by yourself. There are some days when fog hides me, even from myself. Then I'm lonelier than ever. Oh, poor Ducky is all alone out there in the water, riding the waves. Poor thing. There are nights of clouds and nights of constellations. You see all those beautiful stars up in the sky? There is a moon, and another, and another. The water must be colder now. Ice nudges me. He must be floating a really long way. Seals bark as I go by. Will I float in this ocean forever and ever? My goodness, poor Ducky. Can you even see the Ducky? You probably didn't hold it. You see him right there in the moonlight? All alone. I wonder what these 2 seals are thinking. Arr, arr. They're probably so confused. What's this rubber ducky doing out here? It is on a day of pale light that I feel the sea lift me, carry me, crash me down. I'm somersaulting over some small stones. What is happening to me now? Someone is shouting, "I found one! I found one! It's a duck!" Do you see the shadow here? Someone's rushing over. Where do you think the duck has made his way to? A boy's face is close to mine. We are nose to nose, beak to nose. Another boy rubs my head. "Hi, Ducky." That's what I'll call him, Ducky, my boy says. His friend grins. Good name. Very original. I need to report that I found him, my boy says. He gets on a bike. Mrs. James is keeping a record for science. For science? Me? That's what the duck says, huh? What do you guys think this has to do with science? Why do you think Mrs. James is keeping a record of any kind? What do you think? Make a prediction. Why would they be keeping track of anything like this? My gosh, look at this. It's great to see so many of my friends again. I'm going to hold it up. What do you see? Do you see up on his head right here? And then this little boy in the stroller. There's more and more of those bath toys. Do you see them? One kind of poking out here. So there's a red beaver. Now we are in a room. My boy sets me on a table. I found him down on the beach, Mrs. James, he tells a woman. Thank you for reporting it, she says, and she writes in a notebook. I'll put it in my ducks found list. People are finding lots of these bathtub toys around town. The scientists are so interested. Ducky's coming home with me, my boy says. We ride to his house and he puts me in his bathtub. You see him? I am so happy. I am a bathtub duck, fulfilling my destiny. You remember that phrase just means doing exactly what he's meant to do in life. He was born, he was created to be a bathtub duck, and now he gets to be one. He's in a real bathtub. How wondrous it is to be able to float. Isn't that great? Oh my goodness, that's the end. There's the ducky. But I want to read to you the author's note. Before we get to any more questions, I really think it's important to hear what the author had to say about this story. Okay, you ready? It says, in 1992, a crate containing 29,000. That is a huge number. 29,000 of plastic bathtub toys, animals they left on a ship, a huge ship. Remember at the beginning of the story? A ship all the way from Hong Kong, which is in China, a whole other country, way far away. And it was bound for Tacoma, Washington, USA. I have to tell you something about that. Miss Thomas, I am from a little place near Tacoma in Washington, and I remember this story. Okay, so this crate full of thousands of these bath toys washed overboard in a storm, in a real storm, you guys. Hundreds of toys have since been found on beaches on the Gulf of Alaska. Scientists are checking the findings and the sightings to learn more about the currents, which is how the water moves, wind, and the tides, which is the water that comes in and out. So using computers, they plot and they make marks and they track where these animals are found. So some, they believe, will go into the Arctic Ocean and ride all the way towards the North Pole. Some could sail around the top of the world to the North Atlantic. One lone duck was found off of the state of Washington, right on the edge of Washington. How wondrous to be able to float. You guys, every summer in Washington, in Seattle, where Miss Thomas is from, there's a huge, just to celebrate this duck that really was found in Washington, they put this huge jumbo inflatable duck out in the water in Seattle for tourists and people to go see, and you could take pictures by it. And it's huge. It's like as big, it probably touches the top of my classroom ceiling. It's the biggest floaty you could ever imagine. But anyways, you guys, so this is a true story that happened, something that happened, and then this author, Eve, she loved it so much, she wanted to decide to tell the story in a little bit different of a way. So I want you to think back to the beginning. What was that question that I asked you to be thinking about as we read? So I asked, who is telling the story? Who is telling the story? If you need to go back and listen again to Miss Thomas read it to you, go back and listen. Who is telling the story? Is it a boy? Is it A newspaper reporter. Tell me who wrote this story or who is telling the story, okay? And then I want you to tell me a little bit about what the story is about. So tell me what happened first, next, last. Tell me kind of what happened at the beginning, then what came next, okay? And then how did the story end? Alrighty, we're going to write about that today, all right? So enjoy, send me those answers. Please remember to use full sentences. That means a capital letter at the beginning and a period at the end. The more the better. So tell me details. Tell me the colors. Tell me the other bath toys, the kinds, not just the duckies. What other kinds of bath toys were at the very beginning in the crate that went overboard? All right, I want you to take your time with this assignment. Answer those questions. You're going to see them below when you scroll. So answer all of them and send me pictures in Dojo. I look forward to reading your responses. Have a great day. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.